All right, am I recording? Yes, I am recording. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Black Lives Matter Roundtable. I am your host, Manny. I am here with Gabrielle and Veronica. Guys, how have you been? I haven't spoken to you guys in so long. What's going on?
Everything's good. Everything's good, you know. Everything's all right.
Everything's all right. I mean,
Yeah.
What about you, Veronica? What's going on?
Everything's okay. I mean, the coronavirus it definitely interrupted a lot. I was doing an internship with the New York Yankees at the time.
Okay. What are you doing?
Coronavirus, and it's like I was supposed to continue the internship, and then coronavirus came and told us not to come back because of the virus was spreading too much. And then I had an interview during the coronavirus with the Brooklyn Nets, so everything's
like, all right, that's cool. It's good to hear.
Slowly but surely, but nobody really knows what's going on, so I'm just standing still right now.
Okay. Well, if you guys don't mind, I'm gonna jump right into it. I would like to get a little bit of your perspective of what was going through your head when George Floyd, passed away the way he did, and then everybody started rioting. Like, everyone has a different outlook. The whole Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, peaceful protesters, and people that are just looking for straight violence. If you guys don't mind sharing what was going through your head and what was like your first thought, like what did you decide to do to be able to support the Black community? Hey, it's okay.
I don't know if you can go first or no.
You can go first. It's all right.
All right. So as soon as I saw the video, well, to be honest, when I saw a Black man on the floor, and I was scrolling through my Facebook feed, but I had just seen Ahmaud Arbery's murder, and I've never seen a murder before, like live like that on like video, never in life. So it's like, to me, I witnessed like my first lynching, like modern day lynching type thing. Like that's how I look at it. And then I saw Breonna Taylor. So then I'm like, okay, two in like the past like week or week and a half. And I'm like, all right. And I read both of those stories. And then when I saw him on the floor and I saw that there was a cop's knee on his neck, something told me before I even watched the video that it wasn't going to end good. So I did not watch it.
I just got goosebumps.
I couldn't do it. I did not watch it at all because it reminded me of Eric Garner when I saw his knee on his neck. So I said, I'm not going to watch it. Okay. And I was watching CNN with my mom, and then it came on again, and I was basically forced to watch it. So I watched it, and I was just sick to my stomach because I just was looking at this man's face. I'm like, wow, he has no remorse. He has no feelings, no nothing. Like, how could you? And then on top of that, I mean, I'm just thinking about, wow, like, I can't even kneel that long. Like, how do you feel comfortable kneeling on someone's neck for that long? For almost 10 minutes, you're on someone's neck. And then I mean, I don't know what to do in that situation other than like sign petitions or then like start protesting. So of course the coronavirus is happening. So nobody wants to go out. But then I'm looking at CNN with my mom, I'm like, oh, in Minneapolis, they don't care. Oh, they got masks on. And they protest, so they staying safe and they protesting for a cause. But they're also rioting. So then people started doing it here. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go out and I'm going to protest because this is all I can do so my voice can be heard or so I can like march with a purpose because anybody that comes, you're adding to the crowd. So you're outnumbering the police officers and they're going to feel intimidated regardless. That's how I look at it because that's exactly how it was the entire time. Like I've witnessed people get arrested and pushed with batons, pepper sprayed, everything during the protest. And it was just... like, I'm literally, like, living in a historic moment, and I'm just like, wow, this is going to be in my children's history books, bro. Like, I'm like, wow. I said, they're probably going to be like, oh, Grandma, what happened in 2020? I'm like, girl, you don't even want to know.
I like that. That's cool. All right, you, Gabby, what was going on through your mind? What happened?
Man, a lot of things were going on through my mind. Like, again, I saw the Ahmaud Arbery. I knew about the Breonna Taylor. But then to see the George Floyd, I was like, not again. Like, after everything that went on with Eric Garner, I actually didn't even see Eric Garner's because I was just like, no, but I couldn't do it. But I saw Ahmaud Arbery's and I saw George Floyd and I was just like, shit, this shit is 10 minutes. 10 minutes. 9 to 10 minutes that they were kneeling on this man's neck. Mm-hmm. And no one could push them. Like, I understand. Like, no one could push them off. No, none of the other cops or anyone decided to say, let's get off of this man after he said, I can't breathe, after he was calling for his mother. At that point, I think when he was calling for his mom, I think at that point, I was just like, I think I was shaking. It's just so sad. And then even with the riots and the protests going on, we see another example of this happening with Rayshard Brooks. So even when cops at this point, all eyes are on them, they still don't take the opportunity to check themselves, and that's what happened with Rayshard Brooks. No one, it's just really sad. We have to keep going through this over and over and over again. We have to keep dealing with the deaths of Black men and Black women from cops, and then we have to protest and riot, and it's just like this never-ending cycle. And I feel confident that what's happening now, I see a lot of different things. I see people all over the world are marching and protesting, and people are speaking up, demanding change. So it's just, I have hope this time that things are actually going to get better.
Okay. I have hope too. Every time, actually in Cortland, they just did a portrait for Black Lives Matter in the center of Main Street. So that was kind of cool. And I was actually surprised that nothing happened here. Because in my experience, so let me break it down. So when I first got to Cortland, I work as a bouncer at the bar, and I meet a lot of folks. I meet a lot of students and a lot of townies. And I've met a lot of townies who've openly told me that Cortland used to be somewhat of a racist town back in the day. And I've had my fair share of meeting these people who speak this way. Now, given the fact that all the riots that were going on, there was actually a peaceful protest down the block from where I'm living now. And I was afraid to actually go outside because I was thinking the worst. I was thinking if this town used to be what they say it is, and then now it's filled up with, a bunch of Black and Hispanics, how would that go down? But eventually nothing happened. Thankfully I actually was able to step outside and walk by there. But just moving on from that, you guys being Black women, I want to know, has anything changed for you since this been going on? Like in my example, I went from saying hi to all the white people in the streets to getting stared at a certain way. People are clutching their bags again. People are giving me dirty looks. So I want to know, have you guys been facing that type of discrimination ever since this started happening? Like more now than ever.
Thankfully, I have never experienced firsthand racism.
Really?
Throughout my entire life.
Wow. Okay.
I've grown up in a very mixed environment, very diverse environment. I've gone to diverse camps. Like this times I've been the only Black girl in the summer camp. I've gone to diverse schools. That's how I could be around different people and just feel like I am one with the people and not feel like an outcast, because you have to have thick skin to do that. Yeah. And I was raised like that. So I've never experienced any of that, but I do see a couple, I have white friends as well, and my white friends, they posting and stuff like that, and a couple of them, when I would text them stuff like that, they would say certain things like they don't really know what to say. So all they can say is your life matters, and I'm here for you whenever you need this, and it's nice to see that they're woke. They're not like, you know, a lot of the others like sleeping and stuff. But I mean, it does hurt to see that my brothers and sisters is out there protesting and they still going through it, because it's like, it might as well just be me right there, because I'm looking at it through a lens. I'm looking at it in the video. Like, this just happened a few weeks ago in Long Island. There's a whole bunch of Trump supporters and everything. They all decided to come and stand on and crowd at the corner, and the cops is lined up blocking them from attacking the protesters, and they're yelling at the protesters. And you know, the protesters is a mixed group at this point. It's whites, blacks, Hispanics, Asians, whoever. Like, everybody's together, everybody's one. And then like the white supremacists that was on the corner, like, they was literally like yelling at them, telling them to go home, telling them to go certain ways, and they was really being nasty towards them. And I'm just like, wow, like, this, everything is just opening up my eyes to really see exactly what I was told all my life. Like, I was always told that, I mean, lots of parts of Long Island is like very racist, and I've never seen it firsthand. No matter like however many times I went to Long Island, I've never seen it. But because I saw it through the video, I'm like, wow, like, they not lying. This is true. Like, they literally, why are you wasting your time to come to a protest to now deter people from protesting when you could just stay at your house and just be mad?
Yeah.
Why can't you just do that? And now you're just wasting time. But to answer your initial question, thankfully I have not experienced any firsthand racism or anything like that. Every time I went out to protest, I never experienced what I just explained to you that happened in Long Island, because I mean, I'm in the Mecca, I'm in Brooklyn, you know, I'm in the city, so I don't, to be honest, I've never really experienced that here. And even if somebody does feel a type of way, they'll look at you, but they don't say nothing. And if they do look at you, I don't notice. I don't notice at all.
Okay. What about you, Gabby?
I've kind of seen, not like the full, like in my life, not like the full blown racism, but I've seen like a whole bunch of microaggressions. I've gone to a lot of PWIs. If you don't know what those are private
I don't. Okay.
For anyone who doesn't. But I see a lot of microaggressions and macroaggressions, and I like, especially just during this time, I've been one to call out a lot of people, especially on social media, people who I've worked with who have ignored what has been going on. I've called them out on their privilege, and I called them out on their ignorance. And, you know, led me to a lot of deleting of people off of my Instagram, but it's okay. I'm fine. As far as like me just like being scared to go out, like, honestly, I was a little scared when I went to a bagel store. Like my town isn't very, there's just a whole bunch of Trump supporters in my town. So like, it's like, I'm scared sometimes. And then I went to the bagel store and then I saw cops there and I was just like, okay, so let me leave. Let me get my bacon, egg, and cheese and leave.
Wow.
So I always, like, honestly, everything I do, I always have to question, because the things that I do sometimes aren't going to be the same things that white people can do. And, you know, after seeing things like what happened to George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery, like, you can't, like, being black, like being a black woman and just being black in general, you can't do the same things you can do, like people could do who are white. You can't get pulled over, right? You can't go to the store and buy something and probably have like a counterfeit $20, right? You can't sell a pack of cigarettes. You can't do a whole bunch of things when you're black. Some people just don't realize it.
I actually just want to add something to that. Recently, when I went to Walmart and I was buying, I think it was like 2 boxes of cereal. I scanned the first box, and when I scanned the second one, the machine was like, "Oh, something's going on. Wait for the cashier." So the lady comes up, and she's like looking around, looking into the bag, looking at my hands, and I'm like, all right. And then, the replay on the screen shows that I scanned the cereal, put it in the bag, and I scanned the other cereal, and put it in the bag. And it was just like, that's uncomfortable. Like,
Yeah.
I have money. I'm not gonna steal cereal.
Like even shopping, like whenever I go shopping, I quickly get something like real quick because I don't want to be followed. Yeah. I don't like being followed in the store. It's uncomfortable. So I get something and then I just pretend like after I bought something like real quick, like a cami or something, I go back to shopping so they can see that I bought something and I have money.
Wow.
Like
that's crazy. Oh my God.
It's all these extra steps that you have to take.
And now this is the thing though. I get it. You know, the perception of some people from our Black community have done wrong things in the stores, have given us a bad name, you know, all this stuff. And that's the perception that people have of us. But now it's like, it's not only Black people that do things wrong. Everybody does things wrong. So it's just like, why is there so much discrimination against one race? Like, does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
Guys, just the other day, I'm in Dollar Tree, and I'm sitting there, like, trying to look at some bags or something like that, and I see a white lady, and she looked like she, you know, she obviously wasn't doing too well. She looked like she was like probably lived in a homeless shelter or something like that, but she was still white. And I'm just looking at her, and she putting mad stuff on her bag, and I'm just like, wow. I said I just wonder like why she did that so close to my friend and I. Like she came so close to us and she put everything inside of her bag that she wanted to steal. And then she walked right out the store. My friend just walked right out the store. And I'm just like, there was no suspicion, no nothing. And she walked out the store with a huge duffel bag full of stuff that she just stole out of the freezer. And I'm just like, this is just crazy. Like, I just can't even imagine. I don't even remember the last time I have not seen a Black person steal like how I saw this lady steal from the store. Like, I haven't seen it. And I'm just like, but then we're the ones who always get followed, like Gabby said. Like, I mean, I don't think I've been followed, but I do know how, like, when I was in Cortland, I know for a fact that I felt like I was being watched when I was at the self-checkout. I felt like, and then I was next to a suite mate of mine at the time. She stealing. And I'm just like, you steal it, but I'm standing right next to you, and I'm the one being watched. But meanwhile, you just gave yourself a 5-finger discount. Like, it's just crazy.
The one thing
I just don't understand.
The one thing I like to do is like, if I notice that I'm being watched and like I can feel uncomfortable myself, I'll just openly say it. I'm like, why are people looking at me like if I'm going to steal something? Do I not have money? And then I'll pull out my wallet and it's just like, oh, look, a credit card, a debit card. Like, you know, like you just got to make it known. And they're like, oh, snap, like I got caught. Like, just.
If I was able to be followed in the store, I definitely would call somebody out. I would call the person out who's following me.
I've been followed in the streets before, back at home in the Bronx, in Brooklyn, in Manhattan. And I can't call somebody out. I can't do that. I'm a man, and I know what other men do when they feel challenged, and still to this day, I'm clearly living. I'm not trying to do it, but I can agree that I've been in a lot of uncomfortable situations, and that's something that I want to get to the bottom of. Like, I feel like we can fight, you know, with not all lives. Black lives do matter, but what are you doing for yourself to improve the Black community just so we don't continue to be looked at as a race that everyone discriminates? Like, there's still Black on Black crime, you know, like there's still things going on that we do to each other. And it's like, how do you expect to get respect if you don't respect yourself? Does that make sense? I
just want to bring up, like, I just don't like the term Black on Black crime.
Okay, cool.
I just don't think it makes any sense because there's anywhere.
All right.
Or there's white on white crime.
Of course.
Latino on Latino crime. Black on Black crime doesn't make sense. Like, Black on Black crime is only due to proximity, not to, it's who's in your neighborhood. There's not crime in your neighborhood. So I feel like Black on Black crime, it just doesn't make sense.
So, all right. So now real quick, I've had a hard time speaking to people saying things because, like, I feel weird saying white people. Like, it makes me feel like I'm coming off as a racist. And I've said white skinned before. Like, how would you pronounce that necessarily? Like, just crime on, like, just human on human crime? Like,
it's just crime.
Okay.
It doesn't matter who's against. It doesn't matter what skin color you are. It's still a crime. And
It
it's
doesn't.
also,
No, of course.
to me, it's systematic because everything is put in place for everything to happen. Like, how do you think how do guns get inside of the poor communities or mostly black communities? And mind you, they're not legally registered to nobody's name, and then
No, they're not.
and then you got up like brought up on gun charges and stuff like that. Like, where are these guns coming from? Because it takes an arm, a leg, and a thigh to get a gun permit here in the city.
That's true.
So everything is done systematically, and I definitely agree with Gabby said. Like, that term really just makes my skin crawl.
Hey, look, I just want to be able, like, for myself, I want to be able to pronounce the correct thing. I don't want to always come off as offensive, you know? And I'm glad that we're able to talk about this because other people are going to be able to see this too. Like, I would have never thought saying black on black crime would be offensive only because I guess, like, I was trying to talk about it in a specific manner, like in one location. Like, I understand that there's other crimes, but I was just trying to focus on that. But even then, with you saying that just sheds light that there is a bigger problem to how we speak and how we interpret things. So I appreciate you for that, Gabby. Thank you.
No problem.
Moving on, one thing that I do want to get, personal with is the fact that you guys are black women in this world. And the one thing I've learned is that for women, it's harder. For black women, is that much harder. And being in the sports industry isn't really an easy game for us. So with all the odds stacked against you guys, where do you feel like, have you felt like you've struggled? Have people put you down because you're a woman? Do you feel like you're doing just fine? Like, can you please talk about that?
Veronica, you can go.
I'm sorry, these questions are kind of intense.
I'm trying to get my energy. I think she feels my energy.
I felt it. I saw you.
Listen, take your time. Ain't no rush. If there's something that you don't want to speak about because you feel uncomfortable, feel free to mention that. We don't have to answer anything that you don't want to answer. I just want.
Nah, we gonna get into this tea. We gonna get into this
tea. It's tea right now. All right, I'll get ready. Okay.
All right.
So, in regards to your question or your statement, it's definitely a challenge, but I really, just like I said, like, my upbringing really helped me develop a backbone to be able to withstand whatever environment I'm put in at the time. So by me, I mean, a lot of people was looking at me like, oh, well, why don't you go to HBCU? Like, why would you go to predominantly white school? Like, what's the purpose? And like, why you chose sport management? It's nothing but white people in that major. There's nothing but white people in that field. They're true. It's right. It's true. But I chose that major because of my personal love for sports. Not because of anybody else's color, not because of who is male predominant, is it mostly men are inside that field at all. Like, that's not the reason why I chose it. I chose it because I personally love sports. So me being now, like, the Yankees internship was my first, like, eye-opener to the corporate sport world. Okay. And it was a great experience. They literally had a huge meeting in the beginning before we even started working about discrimination in the workplace, and that meeting was long. And I felt like, okay, well, if something was to happen here while I'm here, I can go to so-and-so and, we could nip this in the butt. But so I'm happy, like, nothing happened while I was there. That was something, like, indirectly kind of happened, but I even spoke to my mother about it, and my mom was like, no, she ain't know. She didn't realize what she said, but I could tell that she hangs around black people by what she said. I could tell that she hangs around black people, and she didn't feel like it was offensive or anything because it just rolled right off her tongue like she normally says it in conversation. And I'm just like, you know what? All right, cool. I'm gonna just let that slide. But I was the only black female working with the Yankees, and at times I would literally sit there and to look around like, wow, I'm the only Black one sitting here. And even when we all came together as like for each department in the sales, and I was looking around the room. I'm like, okay, well, it's not that diverse up there. It's predominantly, Caucasian, like white men, white women. And I'm like, okay, well, there's only 2 Black females in the entire ticketing department. Only 2. And I'm just temporary. This one here, she not full-time yet neither, but she could be full-time eventually. But it's just like, it does sometimes I do sometimes feel uncomfortable, but once I get out of my head, I stop feeling uncomfortable because of, just like I said, my upbringing. And I just feel normal because I'm talking to somebody and I feel like we're all human. So we're going to talk as human beings. I mean, of course you see color, but I'm not talking to you as if you're a white man or a white woman. Like, I'm not talking to you as if whatever. I'm talking to you as a human being. If I have a question, you answer it. Same vice versa. I mean, but I did realize in the workplace when I was working there, like, a lot of people didn't really ask me questions. Like, I guess they didn't feel like I knew anything, but I knew every single thing that I had to do from the beginning to the end for groups sales, for season ticket sales. The only thing I didn't master was suites because I knew I wasn't going to be selling no suites, but everything else, I read it from top to bottom. I mastered everything. And if somebody had a question, like, they would ask me. Like, this one girl, she asked me a question one time and I gave her the answer. And my answer wasn't, I guess, good enough for her. So she called over one of the managers and she asked him the same question in front of me. And he gave her the same answer I gave her. And I said, oh, I just told her that. And he's like, oh, well, I don't need to be here then. And she just looked at me. I'm just like, what's the purpose of you asking me a question if you're gonna like doubt what I'm telling you? Wow. Like, because if anybody else, if any of the white guys would have came over to her and answered the question, she would have believed them. And half of them not even really sure. They asked us 1,001 questions. But when I say something, if I'm telling you something, like, I'm sure because I read it. And I read everything. I was the only one with a laminated binder in there from the beginning to the end. Like, I made sure all my stuff was nice and neat. The only one that had all my ducks in a row. Like, all my neighbors, everybody had everything all unorganized, but they knew that they needed to find something out. They come to me. They look through my binder. They see everything's in order. So it's like, that's how I kept my stuff, because I know that the next Black girl that want to come up in there, or if there's another Black girl coming behind me, I'm going to make sure that I at least do something right so she has a chance, because I was the only one. So I want to make sure that everybody behind me, that I give my people, like, basically a good rep. So it's like, oh, okay, well, maybe we could take a couple more next time, because I don't know, maybe they was testing out the waters because I was the only one in there. I don't know what it was. It was only 3 of us, me and then 2 other guys. So, I mean, and one of the guys, he left early, and then the other guy, I don't know. I'm the only one who finished out the program today. So, I feel like I definitely helped whoever wants to come next. And it's the last thing. I was looking around at everybody who was working there that was a minority, and they were all either custodial staff, security, or working in the, what's it called?
In the kitchen?
When you get the inventory, when you get the shipments and stuff like that coming
in. Yeah, just inventory, really.
Like the inventory. They were doing that. And every single time I would walk in there, they will always have a smile on their face. They will always speak to me, and I will always speak to them. And then eventually I'm like, wow, so I feel like I'm kind of like giving these people some type of hope, because I'm walking in there looking corporate. I have on a suit. I have on heels. Like, I'm walking in there like I'm going to an office, and you don't see a lot of Black women walking in there like that. Don't. So for me to do that every day, I felt proud to walk in there because of the love that I just felt from the closed mouths of the people that I was walking past, that was just looking at me
behind the scenes.
That looked just like me. Yeah, it's like I'm walking past and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, people was always happy to say hello to me. This one guy told me, like, every single day I come past this office and I look to see if you sitting there, just because I wanted to make sure you sitting there. Because he was so happy that I was working there, and all of them was like, oh my gosh, I hope that they give you the job. I hope that they give you the job. I mean, I don't have the job, but still,
COVID,
like, I think
COVID took the job away from you.
It's like, that's just a proud moment for me to walk in there every day and see the smiles on their face. And, you know, everybody knew me, everybody knew my name, and I was able to talk to everybody, and I didn't discriminate. I did not talk to nobody. I didn't care if you was a top exec from, you know, the janitor, whatever. I didn't care. I spoke to everybody.
I think that what you just said was awesome. That gave me chills. I think that's really cool that you had that type of experience. Continue to inspire people, Veronica. That's awesome. Hey, look, talking about leadership and stuff, like that's what you do. You helped me, you know, build a portfolio, or at least showed me the way. And now, look at me now. Look at me.
I'm looking at your Instagram. Every time I look at his Instagram, I be like, oh, I did that.
Yeah, you did do that. That's why I gave you a shout out. I'm telling you, look on YouTube. For the sport management banquet, I gave you a shout out at the end. I'm telling you. All right, Veronica. I mean, not Veronica. Gabrielle. I need some of your tea now. We got to hear what's going on your end.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So what was the question? All right. Yeah. So being a Black woman in the sports industry, man. Woo. Yeah. So like, my dad was like, told me, he was like, are you sure you want to do this? Because, you know, it's a boys club. It is a white boys club. And I was like, yeah, I got this. I could do this. I got confidence. So every single internship that I did, I think the last one I did, I worked with the Hurricane Junior Golf Tour. And
Gabby, you still with us? Oh, we're having technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on. What's going on?
So
you back? You back? You froze. You froze. We didn't hear nothing.
Oh, okay.
We need you to bring it right back.
Let me bring it back. Please. Okay. So, being a Black woman in the sports industry is hard because you don't really, you're the one repping Black women just in general, like Black people in general. So in like my last 3 internships that I did, I was either the only one or one of 2 or 3 again. And my last internship was actually one where I had to live with the other interns. And I remember butting heads with one of the interns because we were just talking about, because I don't know how this conversation came up, but we were talking about like what it's like to be a Black person in America. And then, so this person was like, well, I'm an immigrant. Like my family's immigrants. And I was like, yes, your family's immigrants. But they still came and they didn't have that much problems here. As far as my family, who's been here for decades or so, we just see more discrimination. We see how race systematically affects us and all those things. And he just wasn't getting it. But I think when my roommate, who is a white woman, came over, she explained it and everything. It's important to make sure that you have those allies, especially when you're living with other different people. As far as like diversity in the workplace, I am always the first to call out on diversity, especially if I'm the only one there, if I'm the only representation there. I know in in the internship where I did with the Syracuse Crunch, I went up to the CEO or CFO or something, and I said, we did an exit interview, and he was like, what's one of the problems that you have within this organization? And I said, there ain't no Black people here. There ain't no diversity here. I'm the only one. I'm the only intern, and that's it. And he was like, yeah, we've been trying to recruit people. And I was just like, you're obviously not, because every person who keeps coming in here, like I've been there for 2 years, every person who's coming in and out has only been white men and white women. And he was like, I'll try to do better. I want to do better. And even though after I left, I still haven't seen any people of color coming through there.
Wow.
In my internship with the Hurricane Junior Golf Tour, I was the one who was responsible for getting the interns, and I made sure that I got a diverse group of interns for the next intern class. I made sure that there was like equal opportunity for everyone coming in. I gave interviews to white men, white women, black men, Asian men and women, Hispanic, Latinos, all I gave them equal amount of opportunity, and you could see that. Like, you could see all the new interns coming in, they're all from diverse backgrounds. And I feel like that's powerful because one intern was able to make a change in that company and bring in a whole bunch of different diverse people. And I guess, like, on topic of like Cortland, especially if any of the students at Cortland are actually viewing this, you know, if
they will be. We're gonna end up posting this afterwards, yeah.
If any of the white men or white women in our class in Cortland and sport management look at this, I want to know, like, what are you doing for diversity? Like, you're on, like, what are you going to do? Because
collect your thoughts and then fire away. Yeah.
Like, me personally, like, I know if there's a job coming up in my organization, I know I could call Veronica, I could call you, I could call different people. I make sure that I put the person who is a qualified person of color first. And then that's the first person who I'm gonna talk to about a job, about anything, because it's hard enough just being in the sports industry and just working in a white male dominated industry. So what are people in Cortland actually going to do in the sports management industry to push diversity instead of continue with what they're normally used to? Are you going to call up your white boys who could get the job like this, or are you going to actually promote diversity? So it's just, yeah, it's just hard.
Yeah, go ahead.
In regards to Cortland and diversity, I did realize with my 2 years being here, a lot of the Black people that I met that was in the sport management major were transfers.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's kind of easier to get into. I mean, of course you have to work hard, but still, it's a little bit more easier for you to get into Cortland, especially as a sport management major, as a transfer, as opposed to you coming in as a freshman. Because I applied.
Hours, 40 hours. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry. I wanted to add on to that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I applied to Cortland when I first graduated high school. I didn't get in. I didn't get into any of the schools. I applied to Syracuse. I applied to all these schools. But as soon as I finished my 2 year school, I went to Kingsborough Community College in Brooklyn. As soon as I finished that 2 years, what? You went?
We went to the same school.
You went to Kingsborough?
No, wait. Hold on. What year did you graduate?
I graduated in 2017.
I probably saw you in the hallway at least once or twice because we literally graduated the same year.
Wow. I was a liberal arts major at Kingsborough.
Okay, I was
also on the volleyball team there.
Okay.
So I was always in the athletic department.
Okay.
But
I wasn't. By then, I wasn't at the status that I'm at now. I was more like, let me get my classes together. Let me figure this out. I live in the Bronx. That's 2 hours away. I can't stay here.
I don't know how. Yeah, because that's definitely a big commute.
No,
but
continue. Yeah.
I finished. Lose my train of thought. What was I talking about?
You were talking about
transfers in Cortland.
Like transfers in Cortland, how
Okay. So yeah. So basically I feel like it's easier to get in that way. So like so once I finished Kingsborough, I got accepted to every school that I got denied from the first time. I got accepted to every school. Did anybody give me any money? No. But I got into every single school. Like I still have all my acceptance letters until this day. And I'm just like, wow. I just don't understand, how is it so much? It's like, is it, and it's all about the money, I feel like, because it's like, you get more money from a transfer that you're not giving any scholarships to, I feel like, as opposed to them being there for the whole 4 years, because they could possibly get a little bit of scholarship money in the beginning. But like, I didn't see not one scholarship from nobody. But I mean, I made it through. I'm done. I'm debt free. Thank the Lord. But I'm just saying, like, it was definitely a hard thing just to witness. And then, I mean, when I went to Cortland with my mom, my dad, and the former president. Well, no, it wasn't the president. What's it called? It's the president, right? No. Okay. What is Professor Han right now?
Oh, he's now the chief of sport management.
Chairman. Okay,
the chairman. There we go.
Okay, so the chairman before him, I never forget when I spoke to him, and he gave me a nice speech, like a nice spill. Like, he's like, and I'm just like, okay, well, you know what? Yeah, I'm coming to Cortland. And then I was like, I'm trying to go on the volleyball team, tried out, didn't make it. Now I'm looking at the talent of all the other girls who did make it. I'm like, oh, okay. This team is not diverse. I'm like, okay, it makes sense. It's like probably like 2 black girls on the team. Yeah. I'm just like, okay. Well, then somebody else on the inside told me how half of those girls got on when I tried out. They all was from the same school. They had alumni, or they had people that was at Cortland that already knew somebody else. So it's like connections. So I'm like, okay, it makes sense. Y'all all connected. So then what I do, that's my first managerial job. I managed the team. And then I kept going from there. Started managing everything else. Then I ended up just being on the
You can't
other
beat
team.
them, run them.
But it was definitely a good experience. With everything I had a good experience and all that. But it's definitely 10 times harder trying to get into a program as a black female. Doesn't matter if it's an internship, a school, or whatever. It's 10 times harder. And
now, if you were to tell any other black female that comes across this video who feels like they're not where they're supposed to be at, what words would you tell them for them to be inspired? Because let me tell you something. I don't know if you guys heard y'all stories, but all I heard was leadership. That's all I kept hearing was leadership. Both of you guys impacted your workspace where you guys were, and that's big. That's something that I feel like we were always trying to aim for. We were always trying to affect people around us, and we have been doing that. So all we could ever do is improve more. And I appreciate that you guys shared that with us. So to close out, I would love to hear any words out to the world, what you need to say off the top of your head to keep inspiring the people of tomorrow. Take your time.
Gotta go. I mean, I can go again, but I know the people don't want to hear me talk through.
Do it. Look, listen.
You got it.
This is what we're doing this for. We want this so people can see what we're about, what we're made of. That we're not just whatever they think we are. I don't know what that means, but we know what we are.
Yes.
We are strong human beings who love to see change and also make change. So.
Right. And everybody who I'm thinking about in my head that I graduated with from Cortland that is of color, that's a female, they're all powerful females in their own way. And I look up to that. And I would say to any black girl that's out there or any black guy that's out there that wants to be in the sport industry, in the corporate sport world, I would just say to stay true to yourself. Make sure that you move accordingly because you're always being watched. And you just need to basically set the example, for the person that's looking at you, that want to keep eyes on you. Set the example for them so that they can see, that not all black people are the depiction of what they have in their brain. Because all black people are not the same. All people are not the same. And I feel like, just like I mentioned before, set like whatever you're doing in that field or in that internship or in that job or whatever, like think about the person that wants to come up behind you. Set the example, set the tone, so that when you leave there, or if you decide to leave, or if you get promoted or whatever, you need to set the tone so that next person could come in and they not looked at in a certain way because they thinking about the previous person who was there. So that's what I was going to say.
Thank you, Gabby.
I guess to and Black women of color, Black men, everyone, especially in school, just don't shrink yourself. Don't shrink yourself down. You know the answer. You know the answer to all the questions. Raise your hand, answer the questions, and don't let anyone think that they're smarter than you, because I guarantee that you know more than everyone in that classroom. Don't be afraid to ask questions. You always have a support system. Like I'm always there. If anyone comes up to me or asks questions, I can answer them. I know anyone, Veronica, you can answer them, and just trust your support system.
Okay.
And I definitely agree with that. Also, I made it my business to sit in the front of every single class that I had.
Yeah, I love sitting in the front.
I'm not sitting in the back of the class.
I don't like
It's time to get in the front. If you want to lead, you got to lead from the front. You can't lead from the back. So you need to get in the front.
I actually almost got in a fight because some kid took my seat.
Make sure you get to class all the time to make sure everybody knows that's your seat.
He missed all syllabus week, and I was sitting in that seat. The third day of syllabus week, he comes up and just takes my seat, and I was like, "Yo, I was sitting there." I'm not even gonna get into it. Whatever.
Nah. The worst is like when it's the 8th week and someone just moves into your seat.
It's like you saw me. You see that I learned from this area of my space. Why are you invading my space? Like, it's not gonna help you, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
and also, closed mouths don't get fed. So just like Gabby said,
yes,
you need to make sure that you definitely open up your mouth and say whatever you need to say or ask any questions, because I swear, if you ask any professor that's still there, that when I was there, I was in their office almost every day. Doesn't matter. It did not matter what the question was. I was always in their face. I was always in their office because I wanted to make sure that I understood everything, because I didn't want to have to depend on texting a classmate not last minute or something like that, to the point, and they may not know what's going on, and I don't have somebody else's number. So I just want to make sure, like, if you don't know something, just ask.
Surprisingly, I was never really in my professor's offices because my first semester, I forgot who came in. I think it was he runs the Syracuse Chiefs. Clint Cure literally said it word for word. He said, in the sports industry, we don't care about your grades, we care about your experience. And I was like, oh, okay. So, you guys know what I did with the media team. All those hours that I could have been in my professor's offices and asking questions, I was over here trying to, like, get my experience, produce things, and, like, I still don't got a job. So I don't know what I did wrong.
Well, I see where you're coming from, but if anybody know me, I'm a jack of all trades.
That's what I like to say too.
I've done every single thing on that campus, and there's a time to do everything. You have to. Time management is key, especially when you want to do sport management or when you want to do anything in life. Because my senior year, I took 17 credits. I was working at the ASC. I was also working at Student Lab Center. I was also working with you with the media. I was also managing the basketball team and the volleyball team. And I was just doing 100,000 things, and I was getting everything done. And I finished with a bang. So you could do anything you want and you set your mind to. It's just that you have to literally have a time gap for every single thing. You cannot, any time, no time can be wasted. You have 24 hours in a day. However you use it is up to you.
That's some powerful words, man. I love this. Oh, I'm glad we had this talk today.
Speaking facts, man.
Yeah, of course. Well, to conclude this show, I would like to say that everyone who's watching, we will try to continue to do these type of roundtable talks and get more people involved. If there's any other time when other women decide to participate, if you guys want to get contacted, I'll reach out to you and we can just have one big discussion. Thank you, Veronica. Thank you, Gabrielle. I hope you guys have a good evening. It was nice talking to you guys. Okay.
Nice talking to
Have
you.
a good night.
Night.